Okay. Hey everybody, this is Gretchen the Green Lady. I'm here at my son-in-law's house and he is going to do a garden. I can't wait for him to show you how he's going to set this up, and then we're going to be mixing some soil. So hold on and see what we have up our sleeves.
Yes.
Tell me what it is that you're doing and what are all these materials here, and I'm seeing some kind of framework over here. What's going on here?
So what I decided to do this year is try something a little different. It's probably different than what most of you have seen on the Green Ladies page, but we're going to do square foot gardening this year, and it's a little bit different. Square foot gardening started back in the late 70s, early 80s by a guy named Mel Bartholomew, where you section out your raised beds to maximize the capacity. And what Mel did was he designed a mix of soilless soil. So we're gonna put all this in the ground. We're gonna start off with some peat moss. We've got some black cow compost. We've got some black hen compost. We've got mushroom compost. And then last but not least, we've got some coarse vermiculite. And what all that's gonna do is we got all that compost that's gonna help give the plants nutrients. And the peat moss is just gonna help retain water. So we have good moisture content. It's gonna help save water in the long run. And the vermiculite is really just to help give it air, to keep that stuff light and fluffy so that the roots and the plants can really dig deep without all the stress of trying to get through the soil. So it's going to give our plants a better chance of thriving and producing bigger plants.
All right, so Dan, you explained what we're going to mix and what soil you're going to make, but what is this? What are these frames?
So what we got here is I've created my raised beds just using 2x6s. Really, most of your plant's roots are only going to grow in the top 6 inches of soil anyway, so there's not really a lot of need to make it much deeper than 6 inches. And I've already laid down my landscaper's fabric so that we can prevent most of the weeds. We're still going to have the chance of getting some, but this is going to give our plants a good chance to be able to get in there and get rooted without having to compete with the weeds for nutrients. Every foot all the way around the perimeter, and once I put my soil into the ground, I'm going to string twine on it to create the 1 foot by 1 foot grid that we need for the square foot garden.
So Dan, what are you going to do with all of this?
I mean,
there's enough soil here, it looks like, for a
this is
football
awesome.
field.
So we're going to mix all this together. That's why we have our tarp laid out, so we can get it all mixed up, make sure it's good and then all that's going to get put into the raised bed I got over here, and then we'll get it sectioned off.
So this big tarp was a great idea. I mean, who has a wheelbarrow big enough to mix this, or a container? The tarp is big. If you need to, we could probably even pull up the sides and sort of roll it. All right, let's get to work. Now, he's using vermiculite in his soil. I did not use that, but it's a great component to your soil.
So you may be wondering, how do we know how much of everything to put in? So it's a real simple, Mel's Mix is what they call it. It's a real simple formula. It's 1/3 peat moss, 1/3 vermiculite, 1/3 compost. So if you know the cubic foot of your bed, find the square foot, times it by the depth to find your cubic feet. Then you're gonna divide that into thirds each. So I know mine's 28.5 cubic feet, which puts it to be about 9.5 per item. And so we're working with, the good thing is that my local farmer supply knows the formula. So I just went in there, told them my cubic feet. They put it all out there for me, so it's perfect. All right, so we got everything mixed up really good, turned over. We got a good mixture going on here. As you can see, it's really
light and airy. That vermiculite really helps to create airspace. So now we just got to do the fun part, which is get all this in there. So hang on just a second.
So Daniel, you said that you had enough soil to make the square footage of this, and what was it?
It's somewhere, I think it's like 28 and a half.
And this is almost perfect. I looks like it filled it up exactly. That is pretty soil.
Now the thing with using this type of mix is it does get a little expensive at first. But the good thing is that from year to year, it'll still be here. All I have to do is next year, when I go to plant, maybe add a couple bags of compost to the top and mix it in, and it'll be ready to roll.
All right. So we filled his vegetable beds with the square footage that he was told it would need. And Dan, I wanted you to tell them again, what is the name of this recipe and who was the inventor of it?
So this is called Mel's Mix. It's named after Mel Bartholomew. He's the guy that invented square foot gardening. And again, like I said earlier, it's 1/3 vermiculite, 1/3 compost, and 1/3 peat moss.
So this was a simple mix. He used a big tarp. We had a good time doing this, and I can't wait to see how his gardens turn out. So this has been Gretchen the Green Lady with her son-in-law Dan. Dan's the man who does all my great editing. But we want to say, go green.